when people don't know
Yeah.
what's coming in the future, whether it's their personal or external environment, meaning like what's happening with the country, the industry, and things like that, it creates a lot of anxiety, fear, and shifts their motion patterns and shifts their thought process. They move away from creative thinking into preservation mode, and they back off their work ethic, and many of them give
Yep.
up and quit actually. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. We have an incredible guest today on the show. She is a rock star, over 20 years in the business. Shonnie Alridge is on the show, guys. She's got an impressive background. She's an investor. She's a team leader here with the Wolfpack. She's a broker. She's an appraiser. But more importantly, she knows how to work with people and understands relationships and mindset. She went through the 2008 crash. Not many people did. They're still in the business today. And so we're going to talk about the comparison between 2008 and what we're going through right now with this current recession, the mindset, what it takes to get through it, what it takes to thrive through it, other things that you can think about that are going to help you with your business, time management, and all sorts of different things are going to be talked about and discussed on today's call, guys. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a great one. Shonnie, welcome to the call. Thank you for coming today. Maybe quickly
Yeah.
touch on a little bit of your background, kind of how you got to where you got to here, and then let's dig into kind of what you're seeing right now. You've been in the
Yeah.
business for years and you've been through multiple corrections now, and you have some good insight on how agents should navigate through this. But quickly,
Yeah.
maybe talk about your past and maybe a little bit about 2008 and some of the struggles you went through there. And then let's kind
Yeah.
of bridge it into what we're all dealing with right now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Connor. I'm so happy to be here to share and
Yeah.
to speak to your audience. So thank you for that introduction.
Yep. Yep.
I've been in real estate for over 20 years. And, real estate is something that you can say it has its highs and lows. It's very,
Yep.
very rewarding. We know that. But, our economy, we can't really, we can't stop things from happening. We have to weather the storm. We have to just kind of ride that wave if we plan on staying in it and getting on the other side. And so I started out in 2002. I got my license while I was in college. And um, I did not
Smart.
see, yeah, but I did not see 2008 coming. I mean, when I had my first transaction, I was like, yee, let's go. And I didn't see it coming. I just thought, man, this is the best decision I've ever made in my life. And then it hit me and I'm like, now what? So, it's like, do I just give up and just go back to school and maybe do something different? Or do I stick with it and just see what it may look like when it's done, when this storm is done? And that's what I chose to do in 2008. I just kept going for it. And then it got better. Then it was great and it's been great. And then here we are in 2023. And it's like, what in the world? It's like, this is
Deja vu.
familiar. Yeah.
Yep.
This is familiar. And so, but this time I wasn't afraid because I knew that, it's patience, it's staying consistent, it's having the right mindset, it's the fact that I had gone through it before and I stayed with it. I decided to do the same thing this time. And so that's what I did. I just stuck with it. And I'm so glad I'm with the Wolfpack because the Wolfpack, is always talking about mindset. I mean, week after week after, I can't get sad and get down. I can't because of our group.
Good, good. Well, that was a big decision that you made back then. It's a decision that I think a lot of people are making right now, which is, do I fight or do I run? And,
Mm,
clearly where you're at right now is you fought, you pushed through, and then you thrived for a very long time. And now you're in that situation again, but you can handle it better this time. For one, a lot of people talk about what can you combat fear with? Well, data and historical record is something that combats fear and experience. So you went through it before. So you have data. You look
mhm.
back in your past and you say, okay, well, I survived this. I got all my fingers, my toes, my arms, my limbs. I'm still good to go.
Yep.
So it's a lot less threatening to you right now. What creates a lot of fear and stress and anxiousness for a lot of people right now is the uncertainty. When people don't know
Yeah.
what's coming in the future, whether it's their personal or external environment, meaning like what's happening with the country, the industry, and things like that, it creates a lot of anxiety, fear, and shifts their motion patterns and shifts their thought process. They move away from creative thinking into preservation mode, and they back off their work ethic, and many of them give
Yep.
up and quit. Actually, so
Mhm.
if you guys are in that mindset right now, this is going to be a good call for you guys because you need to stay strong in that convicted belief that you're going to go down and continue on that path in this career that you're building, because we're actually probably closer to the end of this than a lot of people think. And yeah, it's been brutal. 2023 was not a fun year for any of us. We all worked harder for less, but
Yeah.
we've pretty much survived it. We only got a couple weeks left, so you guys did a great job, whoever's watching this. But what was it like during that time? Like, like a lot of people quit the industry.
Mhm.
Why do you think you just made that decision to push through? Just kind of give your thought process, because a lot of people are probably having that decision right now to make.
Yeah, I have always been very strategic on who I align myself with. And so at that time, I was surrounded by people who were in the industry. We had the same thoughts and ideas like, what do we do? What do we do? But none of us ever wanted to stop. So I just strategically aligned myself with the right people. And I just kept reading. I read a lot of like articles and things like that to just keep me aware of what's happening. And I started to really pay attention and to understand what real estate really was. See, I thought that real estate was just, go sell a house and get a commission and be through with it. I was ignorant. But because I've been in it so long, I get it. It's bigger than that. Real estate is a big deal, and a lot of things are tied into it. And I didn't realize that. I'm like, oh, when it's time to vote for a president, things can shift the economy. The economy is very sensitive. And so that made me pay more attention to a lot of stuff. And I needed that wake up call because I think I was just floating and having a good old time and just making
Yeah.
money and spending money and not really thinking about the whole big picture of what real estate truly is.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's over 20% of our economy is tied directly to the real estate industry, whether it's investing, real estate agent sales, title, mortgage. It's a big impact. So it impacts pretty much
It
everything that we're
is.
doing.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so during that time, what were the adjustments that you made in your business? So, I think a lot of people came out of that 2020 run here
Hmm.
and money was just flying. And like when things are good, nobody ever thinks that, like, it's not them, but the special one, right? And that they're just, crushing it. They don't realize that they're riding a lot of wind in the sail. And then when things are bad, they
Woo.
focus on it way, way, way more. And it's like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? So the negative
Yeah.
is always way more aggressive in the mindset than the positive is. But
Hmm.
what were some of the changes that you made as you were kind of going through that? Did you
Yeah.
change any patterns in like
Oh
marketing,
yeah, absolutely.
expenses, time? Yeah.
Absolutely.
What did you do to
Um,
weather the storm?
yeah. Well, and I don't know if anyone in your audience may relate, but I was kind of the person that's like, hey, Shonnie, can I borrow some money? And I'm like, sure. Yes. I'm here. I'm blessed. And I'm blessed to be a blessing. So I'm helping people and don't worry about paying me back. I got it, and I did. But I was not taking care of myself. And so I had to learn how to budget better and learn how to say no. I had to, you know, decide to make myself an employee of my company because, dealing with paying taxes and stuff like that was just a lot on me as a commission based individual. So I made that change. I adjusted, how I did my business like that. And so I'm now an employee of my corporation, which makes my life a whole lot easier. So really just learning how to adjust when things are different, adjusting, not leaving, not giving up, but just seeing what can you do in your business to make your life easier. And a lot of times it's a great time to really learn, to just kind of, let go of your pride. I was very prideful when I first started real estate. I thought I was supposed to be. And so I developed that personality, very prideful. I know enough. I know more than you. I'm the smart person. I'm the subject matter expert. And not being willing to kind of um, ask questions, being afraid to ask questions. But after that, I'm like asking everyone questions like, listen, I know some stuff, but I don't know everything. So can you tell me what would you do in this instance? So you got to lose your pride and things like that. But it's when we going through 2023 and going through 2008 was a time for me to grow and learn and mature. And I think that everyone should take this time to just figure out like, what could I have done better? How can I grow? Read books, ask questions, and lose your pride.
Yeah, I think it's a good message. I mean, I've been telling a lot of people. So some of that have been watching this channel know my story, my past. Like it got really,
Yeah,
really bad,
yeah.
and I spent like a 3 or 4 year window where I was in debt, working for almost nothing. And during that time when I didn't have like a lot of deal flow and I wasn't having my activity with my time being tied to like driving to properties, talking with clients, and doing that type of stuff, I had a lot of free time. but I was still wanting to work on my business, but I ran out of money.
Mhm.
So I couldn't really be doing much. So I started aggressively educating myself and doing a lot of personal development. I was reading books, podcasts
Wow.
all day, every day. And because I had this slowing down of the normal ferocious pace of business, which is just activity all day when the market's hot, I
Mhm.
actually had the time to do what we're talking about here, which is work on myself. And that investment in myself led to what I've been able to create today. So a lot
Wow.
of you guys that are not active with transactions, you can still be active with building your value with up in your inside of yourself,
Mhm.
which is the most important value that you can create because you cash in that check for the rest of your life. So this is not a time to just to sit back and wait. It's a time to aggressively educate yourself, pursue developing yourself, and as soon as the market turns back on, then you're going to be back in that fast-paced world where you're not going to have the time to do it. So this is a time like Shawnee's talking about. Audit your business. Look back over the past couple of years. What did you do great? What did you not do so great? What could you do better? What could you be more efficient at? How could you save time in spots? How could you save money on certain campaigns? What could you have done differently on deals and things
Yes.
like that? So this is a great time for
Uh-huh.
reflection. So maybe look at this as a blessing and a time for you to do things in your business that you wouldn't have otherwise, or even just in your personal life, reflecting on, when everything was going fast paced in the business world for you. Were you there for your children? Were you there for your spouse and that type of stuff? So it's important to
Yep.
kind of have this dead time a little bit. Now, still trying to, build momentum and work hard towards your business, because when the market turns on, you want to have momentum going into it. But it is an important time to just not sit back and not just sit there and pull the covers over the head, but really
Mhm.
kind of use this time to analyze what's been going on and what you're going to do going forward. Um, Flash forward
Absolutely.
to right now. What are some of so like, when did you feel this coming on in your market? Uh, the kind of correction that we're dealing with, and how does it kind of relate to what you went through in 2008? Is it similar? Is it different in ways, or is this kind of what's your kind of take on all that?
I feel like 2023 is different from 2008. Um, in 2008, the reason why things shifted that way is because of predatory lending, you know.
Right.
So right now, that's not our issue, predatory lending. We pretty much have learned from that and we're doing much better and things like that. This time around, it's just the cost of money is high. Then we had that 2020, 2021, 2022, where the prices of homes, like the values were just appreciating astronomically. So now we're dealing with that. So it's a whole different story. It's a whole different conversation that I'm having with the buyers, the sellers, and the agents on my team. And so it's really not it's not a comparison in why it happened, but it's a comparison in how it feels, where it's impacting our our income. And and people are thinking, well, I'm not a good agent or I'm not a good business person because I'm not making the money that I made last year or the year before. And it's like, you got to get over yourself. Like, we're doing
Yeah.
everything that we can to make things happen, to make sure our clients are happy and make sure our families are good. It's just, it's we don't have any control over this right now, but we can control this. We
Yeah.
can control how we're coming into our day and everything like that.
Yeah. It's always been a mindset issue when you go from a climate or an atmosphere or environment that you can do really well at, and you built an ego or pride in it, and then you move into the next one. I mean, think about like athletes, right? Like they
Huh.
crushing high school and then they move into college, a little bit tougher. They're still showing up, working just as hard, hitting the gym just as hard, but now their results are a little bit less,
Yeah.
unless they're just a rock star. And then they go to the NFL, and now everybody's really good. So really, environments change, hot to cold, easy to tough, and so you just need to
Yeah.
stay in the right mindset as you go through it. Now you're an appraiser. Were you an appraiser during 2008 when all that was going on, or did you do that a little bit
No,
later?
I wasn't. I became an appraiser during the pandemic. I was talking to one of my friends. He's like my big brother. And we were talking about, just it was pandemic talk, right? We were all like, what are we doing? And he mentioned that even when the market is at its low, he's still making money because appraisals are
Yep.
needed for more than just financing real estate. And I was like, what? And so he was like, I'm good. And I'm like, you're good. Like, you're not stressing out. And so I thought, wow, this would be a great added value, to my business, to be able to look at property and valuations the way appraisers do. So I decided to add that license to my,
100%.
yeah. And it's
Yeah,
been
I'm
good.
seeing
It's
a
been
lot of
great.
people. Yeah, I think that's smart. A lot of people right now are doing similar things. I've seen a lot of people get extra licenses, mortgage, insurance.
Yeah.
They're creating side little businesses. They're doing little investing things here and there. So if your main income stream's getting beat down a little bit, fill in the gaps with some other side opportunities that you can kind of capitalize on. Now, you mentioned buyers, sellers, and agents when we were talking just a second ago.
Yeah.
What do you think from each perspective? We'll just go through what they're kind of telling you out there in the marketplace. So, from
Okay.
sellers, what are you kind of feeling from them, and they're telling you, why they're not wanting to list? Like, let's go through the seller mindset, and then why buyers are not buying, and then how agents feel. And so we can look at
Yeah.
it like for the whole industry kind of perspective. So, what are you seeing
Mhm.
out there with the seller mindset?
The seller mindset right now is to me is really interesting because you know they're stuck in the past. Past meaning like
Two
a
years
year
ago, 2 years
ago.
ago.
Yeah.
When the explosive. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
for
stuck in
sure.
the past. And I mean, they're really stuck there. So it takes a lot of conversation and just showing just statistics, historical data. Like I'll tell you something, but it's really coming from data that I have analyzed. So just having the conversation, we're not there anymore. You're not leaving money on the table because that money isn't even there. You can't think like that. The homes are not appreciating like that, in that at that rapid rate. And so once we get them there to an understanding and accepting where we are right now, they feel better. I think they don't want to feel like they're leaving money on the table, and they don't want to feel like they could have done better. And they want to know
Right.
that we care about what they care about. And so once I get that, we get past that, which takes some time, then we're good to go. And they're like, well, okay, well, we can sell right now then, or whatever they decide to do.
Yeah. So the average like homeowner, they're not like an investor or an agent that's doing volume, meaning we're selling houses all the time. They got this one, they want to maximize on it. So do you think when all that aggressive buying was happening, back during the 2020, 2021 type of window, a lot of those sales were homeowners that were probably 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the market, maybe thinking about buying, but then when they saw the market going up, they bought in, trying to capture on that appreciation wave. And do you think they got frozen now, where they're still thinking it's going to keep going up? And then maybe the take on interest rates. Do you think that some of them are not selling now because they're scared that they got a low interest rate and they don't think they can replace that property with a good interest rate? Is something else I'm kind of seeing out there?
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up because what I do like about, in general, just consumers, that they are more, they're trying their best to learn as much as they can. So they're taking it all in and they're taking it into account, and they're careful about the moves that they're making. And so I
Yeah.
think that's great. So it makes our conversation better because it's like, well, you're on board with having an understanding. I just got to make sure my data is presented properly. So yeah, I mean, people don't mind selling their home. They don't mind buying another one. They don't mind moving, but it has to make sense financially for their family. And so it's just having to make sure that everything lines up. But what I do find now is that people who are buying and selling, they really need to. Like they job change, family size has changed. It's not about, oh, I just feel like doing it. It's more like we need to do it and
Right.
let's go type of thing. So the buyers and sellers now are very serious about doing what they're doing. It's not like, they're going to be easily moved to back out of it and say, you know what, I don't want to sell anymore. They really want to sell and they really want to buy. So I like the buyer and seller pool now, because they're very, very intentional about what they're doing, even in
Yeah.
this different type of market that we're in.
And it's just like a lot less showing. I mean, think about how many 20, 30 offers on a property we had, and it was hard to find a house for a buyer. You're just showing, going around. It's a lot of wasted time, and you had to act quick. And
Hmm.
so maybe give your take on like how it was so aggressive and how we're seeing so many buyers in the market now. They kind of shut off. What are you seeing from the buyer side? Like, what are they're telling you when you're talking to them?
The buyers are all about, I want a deal. I want a deal. It's almost like they don't want to be like the buyers that were buying back in 21 and 22. Like they don't want to be like them. They want to
Blood
be
in the water.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I
going.
want a
Yeah,
deal, Shonnie. I want a deal. And So it's, again, now we have to have a conversation with them about how we can strategize and we can make that dream come true. We can get them a deal, but it's all about the strategy, what we're looking at, how long a home has been on the market, how eager that particular seller really is, what is the trend in that neighborhood. So I like to do a little research and find out, like, what are the homes selling for in that neighborhood? Are they FHA buyers, conventional buyers? Is it cash buyers? Is the seller offering closing cost contribution, home warranty? Like, what's the trend in that particular area or community, so that now I can structure my offer to be reflective of that, because it's happening. So why wouldn't you give that to my buyer? And just really seeing the sellers what does the seller really want us to do? What they want out of this particular sale? Like, what are their expectations too? And I just put that all into consideration in an effort to get my client what they're asking for, which is a deal. And in this time right now, they're able to get a deal. It's the end of the year. So, you want to get things done before the new year. And we're in 2023 where things are a little bit different right now. So the
Yeah.
buyers are more like, I'm going to be a smart buyer, I'm going to get more out of this than they did back a couple years ago.
Yeah. Well, you also got the agents. Agents are pushing them as well. So, like, I have multiple house flips that I'm trying to sell right now,
Hmm.
and for years, like, it was like just put it on the market, multiple, it was multiple final offers. Like every time, I never even had anybody even remotely think about discounting the property. And now I have like a house that I have up for 210,
Hmm.
and I've had multiple offers at like 190, and they want me to pay like every fee, and like they're putting everything on my side. And this is just completely new over the past
Yeah.
like 6 months. Like, I hadn't seen this in a long time, where like it was rare, like if I ever saw anybody offer below the purchase price. It was more like
Yeah.
how low above the purchase price. So if it's 210, I'd be like, is it they're going to come in at 215, 220, or 225, or even higher type of stuff? And now it's like, whoa, they're coming in at 190, and now a lot of that's they're trying to create a or spread big enough that when you try to meet in the middle, that they're still getting a sizable discount. Is why they're
Right.
starting so low, a lot of them.
Yep. Yep.
But it is interesting how fast things have changed. But this is a good time. This is why it's important to be an investor and an agent, so that you guys can pick up potentially really good deals right now. Because right now I'm looking to buy. I'm actually going out to a property today, so that I'm going to look at buying, and I'm also looking at another multifamily property. So I'm getting pretty aggressive with buying right now. I'm not as reserved as I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people are kind of hesitant to do anything. They're just watching and waiting. And I
Hmm.
think this is where there's a big opportunity, at least on the buy side. But
Hmm.
I know you're buying a couple properties here and there. I
Hmm.
don't know. Are you seeing the same thing in your market? Big property price drops?
Oh
Or
my gosh. Yeah, I have a couple of properties listed for sale, which are investor friendly properties. And, you know, um, I thought that we priced them well. That's what I thought. But man, oh man, the offers are coming in so low. It's embarrassing. I'm like,
yeah,
I didn't, whoa. And I'm an appraiser. But the way these offers are coming in, and it's not just one and two offers coming in lower, all of them.
all
So
of
it's a
them.
general
Yeah,
consensus from the investor pool that it's not what we're not paying that. We're not gonna do it. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, well, like, we can't argue with if we receive 10 offers and they're all low from different investors. So it is a time that's what I learned too in 2008. Like, that was a time to really invest. Like, that time when properties were very, very inexpensive, like super duper low, that was the time to get in and go ahead and put your money where your mouth is. Even now, I'm selling one of my properties, and I am trying to figure out what else am I going to purchase.
yeah,
So this is the time. It really is. I mean, we have to
yeah.
know when to make a move. We have to position ourselves to be able to make a move when the time comes. Real estate, we don't know when it's going to come always. But when it's there, we see it. We have to be in the position to go for it. And you learn this over time. But yeah. Hmm.
So I mean, like, investors, when you come up in that community pretty heavily for like the past 5, 6 years, have just been like, the next correction, I'm gonna scoop up everything. When the next crash, like that's what they've all been waiting on. That's why now that they feel it's here, that's why they're super, super aggressive. But it is a good time to buy. Like, think about my average cost of acquisition when I was really buying a lot of properties was moving from like $3,000 or $4,000 a month a market or per deal to like 4, 5, 6, 7. And here in DFW and Dallas Fort Worth, a lot of these big investment companies were spending anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 just to get a deal. Some of them are wholesale companies; they're spending 7,000 to get a $10,000 wholesale deal and things like that. Well, what's happened is back if you look at the correction in the '08 crash, right around like 2010ish and 11ish,
Hmm.
you were able to scoop properties up off the MLS at like 30, 40, 50 cents on the dollar. And the benefit
Yeah.
of doing that for once, if you're having, especially if you're an agent, is on the front side, you're getting a commission, which drops the purchase price down. And then you think about if you're looking at a true net ROI return on your dollars spent, you don't have any marketing budget for the most part. If you're going through and looking at properties on the MLS, you're not spending direct mail money, you're not running pay-per-click ads and doing all this type of stuff. So you need to factor this into your offers and how you're looking at property. So if you're an agent or if you're an investor and you want to become an agent, reach out to Shonnie, join us here because this is something, like I have an agent that's in my team. She basically was like a $17,400 commission that she saved because she was on the buy side and bought the property off the MLS. Now this hadn't been available forever. It feels like since we've been in the business the past 2 years,
Hmm.
because you could never get a deal off the MLS, but now you can, and you
Yep.
can work in your savings of your commission, and then also you want to think about the savings in the acquisition costs, the marketing dollars that you're spending. So let's say you save 10K on a commission and 5K on marketing budget. That's really $15,000 off that property when you really
Yeah.
kind of think about it compared to what you're doing if you were buying off market, generating those leads with the direct marketing dollars. But
Yep.
just something to
That's
think
right,
about.
Connor.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking to buy as well. Um, what about the agents? So you're growing a team, you're doing really
Hmm.
well, and how's the mindset with them, and what are the conversations? How are you kind of helping them work through things? Because it doesn't matter if you're in insurance,
I love
tech,
having the
like
conversation with them
everywhere.
because I know that I understand what they are feeling. I was there. I
Yeah,
was so frightened in 2008. It got better like 2010, and I was fine at that point. But 2007, 2008, I was like, what in the world? Can someone tell me what's happening here? And so now having these conversations with the agents because I've weathered that storm, and I'm not afraid right now. Like I'm not at all. I can tell them with confidence, like, hey, just look, double down on what you're doing, stay consistent, stay present to your audience. Read. I love Atomic Habits by James Clear because it just teaches
yeah,
you like to keep doing small things, just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Develop those habits of forcing yourself to think positively. Like we know that things can happen and stuff like that, but to remain positive and to stay with it because it's not going to always be like this. There's no way that our economy is going to stay the same way forever. That's not how it works. So, if
yeah.
you're going to do this real estate thing, then you have to understand what it looks like. And so there's highs and lows, and you got to ride that wave and have fun while doing it. Align yourself with the right people. The Wolfpack, again, I have to say, like, one of the best decisions in my career. I wish it was around when I first got started, but it wasn't. But it's here now. And so just knowing that, like, when I feel a certain way about something or I'm upset and frustrated, I'm not the only one. Like my colleagues feel that way
Right.
too, and they don't mind sharing that and everything. So yeah, with having a conversation with the agents, I love it because I feel like it's coming from an honest place, and I truly believe that you can get on the other side of it, but you got to stay with it. And so, and they know that I've been in it so long, so they understand. Like Shonnie, she knows, like she was around in 2008 when it was rough. So yeah, I like the conversations with my agents.
Yeah, I think when things go bad for people, like especially right now, like they do feel alone and they feel like because all they have is the perspective from inside their own mind. So they're thinking, like, why is
Yeah.
this happening to me? Why am I cursed? This and that. But when they
Mm.
have the, kind of like collective behavior mentality where they realize it's not just me, I'm not just the only, it's everybody, then they can kind of settle into a little bit better mindset to go through it. But when they feel isolated or like this, they're just the one struggling, it's a lot more difficult for them to mentally handle. But this is, real estate's a career business. And if you guys are going to stay in this for decades, you're going to ride through multiple cycles, just like a roller coaster goes up and down. You're going to go through it.
Hmm.
And so what you need to do is go through it in awareness of how each experience is and how to handle it better for the next one, not just for yourself, how to go through it like Shonnie is, but now she struggled through 2008. It was a horrible experience, but that experience that she went through allows her to help other people going through their current experience right now. So you're always learning, you're always growing, you're always picking up something that can increase your income or help others do the same in the future. So just don't look at this time as like this net negative and this really bad situation that we're all going through. Just look at it as it's a great learning experience. And besides, it's like
Yes.
the toughest things we do in life are the ones we value the most when we look back in hindsight. So when you guys
Wow. That's
survive this and
yeah.
come through and you have another explosive boom years when everything's easy, you're going to look back and tell the stories to your children, grandchildren, not like around, like, oh, it's so easy to do deals. You're going to be saying, I battled through this, or I had, athletes, I tore my ACL and I came back, right? Everybody's got setbacks. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're competing and you're pushing hard at something and there's a high level competition, at some point you're going to have a setback, whether it's a physical injury, a mental setback, a relationship issue, or something like
Mhm.
that, or an external environment issue like we're dealing with. It just is how it is. That's why mindset's so important and why you have to strengthen that mindset, because when the tough days come, that's what's going to push you through. But what are some of the things you're doing right now in the business? Like, what's working? Have you changed any of your marketing strategies? Doing a bunch of social media? Like, what's your main focus right now as we're going through this currently? And what are you doing like on your team calls, talking to the agents about?
Yeah. So what I've been doing for, I would say, since the pandemic has happened, I had to really figure out like what can I do to improve my business, right? Because we know we slowed down, like you said. So I took that time to figure out what can I do, and I decided that I wanted to build more relationships with people that can help me take my business higher. So and I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just made a decision like I need to have more relationships that's going to help me to build my business even more. So I was able to align myself with an attorney who she does a lot of wills and trust. So she handles estate sales. So I've been able to work with have estate sales to be a part of my business, which is something that I didn't really see coming. It just kind of happened, and the opportunity came, and I presented myself well to where this particular attorney was like, I can work with you because you're professional type of thing. Um, and so also I've introduced marketing myself more modernly. So I have a YouTube channel that is doing very well. I just thought, okay, I'm gonna try it because Wolfpack said do it. So I was like, I'll do it. And I was hoping for the best. I didn't know what to expect. I was just hoping for the best. And such a great decision. Such a great decision to market myself the modern way. I didn't realize that there were so many people who were looking for subject matter experts via YouTube. I mean, I know that I use YouTube for, but I just didn't put two and two together for real estate. I just didn't. And so
Yeah,
Wolfpack opened my mind to that. It's such a powerful tool, having that YouTube channel. It's been incredible. Really. I'm still shocked when I get calls. I'm like, this really works. So just deciding to just telling myself, hey, I need to do something differently. I don't know what it's going to look like entirely, but I need to be around the right people that's going to help me to think differently and move differently. And then I got to be open to it because it's going to be different and I may have some resistance because I've been doing it this way for so long. Making a change and a shift is a little bit painful because you don't know what you don't know. It's just new. But so
yeah,
I tell that to the agents, like, listen, you can shake it up a little bit. You can do things differently. It's okay to move differently. Let your family and friends know, hey, I'm moving differently. So no one's shocked about it. They're expecting it, that you're coming in, you're moving differently, you're talking differently because you've read books, you're inspired now. And so that is just the key, like to just be strategic on who you align yourself with because everything else is going to fall in place if you do that. Like
yeah.
if you want to go higher, you got to be open to it.
Yeah. Well, it just makes people people don't like change in general. So if you're in close proximity to people, they don't like changing their habits or patterns, but they also don't like their friends and family changing their habits and patterns because it's kind of forcing them to change when you really think about it, or come with me or stay where you're at. And
Okay now.
it makes a weird spot for them. But
Hmm.
yeah, it is interesting how social media, especially video marketing and on YouTube primarily, has changed the authority mentality of like how people look at who they're getting information from.
Mm.
So even myself, like I go, instead of like going to doctors and like scheduling appointments, like I go and find online doctors. They're some of the top doctors like in the market, for like chiropractic stuff and structural issues, because I sit in a chair all the time. So like I, instead of going to a doctor, I'm watching one of the top doctors on the internet say this stuff for free, so I don't have to actually go and see them. People are going to all sorts of CPAs and attorney channels, and you can go straight to the direct source, because before you'd have to, like, literally, if you think about it, set an appointment, go down to a brick and mortar location,
Mm-hmm.
meet with them, take
Mm-hmm.
all that time. And now you can simply pop a YouTube video on,
Mm.
look at 10, 15 different doctors or 10, 15 attorneys. And then if you see a shared congruence and agreement to the thought, let's say like 10 different attorneys say, yes, this is how you handle whatever, you're pretty sure that that's like pretty sound advice, right? Because now you're creating the commonalities between them. So it is something that people don't think about.
Yep.
And it's not just that like YouTube creates lead generation, it increases lead conversion. So you
Oh,
can
yes.
double your, you can grow your business two ways. You can either increase the amount of leads that you're bringing in, or convert more of the leads that you're bringing in. So let's say you're getting 10 leads a month, and that's the max you can generate with the time, money, and effort that you have. Well, how do you go to 20? Well, you need to do that with the lead generation side. If you're closing 1 out of 10, how do you double to 2 out of 20? You have to double the efforts, double the money, double the time. But what if you don't have it? So what you have to focus on is the conversion side of your business.
Yep.
So over here, let's say you're closing 1 out of 10. Well, now because you're on camera, or you're on book covers, or you're on stage, or you have a microphone in your hand, there's certain things that create a credibility effect. And now when people go and look at your videos on the internet, you're going to have higher credibility than your competition. Now you may close 2 out of 10 or 3 out of 10. So now when you double, now you can take the extra money coming in from the 2 or 3 out of 10 and put it back into this side to grow the lead generation side. So now let's say you're generating 20 leads, but now you're closing 4 or 6 out of 20 instead of 2 out of 20. So I don't think people are thinking about content creation as credibility and conversion credibility as much as they should, but it does have a big impact on how your business can grow. And
Mm-hmm.
so even if you're not generating leads, people do go look you up. They're going to go look at your website. They're going to go
Yep.
Google your Facebook. They're going to go check you out, make sure you're not an axe murderer.
Yeah.
And because you're going to be working with their family, right?
Yeah,
So it is
that's right.
something that people should think
That's right.
about. Now, what does a day look like for you? I know you mentioned time management and efficiency and things like that. How does a day structure for you, just so people can kind of see if they're doing things correctly or how you're doing it
Yeah.
differently? And sometimes it helps to kind of see how people navigate through their day and week.
Hmm. Well, in general, I have a calendar, and I keep it simple. It's a Google Calendar. I'm attached to my email, and there's some standing dates that are on there, and I work around those dates. So if someone says, "Hey, Shonnie, I need for you to do whatever," I say, "Let me check my calendar." So everyone knows that when they talk to me, let me check my calendar, and I'll check it, and I'll just book around it. So for me, I have standing meetings. I may have to go out and do an appraisal, so I won't have on these type of clothes. I have on, a t-shirt and some pants, and some boots, and maybe a baseball cap. Um, or maybe I'll be
Yep.
showing property to a client that's coming in from town. So then, of course, I'm dressed appropriately for that. And so I'm very flexible, Connor. I do have standing dates that are there, and I stick to that. But when I work around that, I'm very flexible. I try to stay very limber and flexible, because my days look different. I may not have an appraisal tomorrow. It may just be completely home tours, or it may be completely, maybe I'll decide to just go ahead and, since I don't have home tours, to record some content. So even if maybe some appointments may fall off, someone doesn't show up, I will still use that time for something. I'll just allocate something else to do, because I don't want to waste time. I don't have time to waste. And for me, if someone cancels on me, I don't look at it, I don't get upset. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And so I just will
Yep.
find something else to do. Like,
Yeah.
I can
It's
find
almost like
something
a
else to
gift.
do. Yeah.
When you're super busy, it's like a gift, because you're like, man, I can get caught up a little bit here.
Hmm.
Catch up on some
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I actually
so how,
purposely stack my calendar, because I know that some things are going to fall out. I'm
yeah.
sure of it. It happens every single time. So I'm like, I'll stack it a little bit to where someone else may say, "Whoa, Shiny, how in the heck are you going to do all that?" But in my mind, I know that some things can fall out. And when it does, I'm ready, you know.
Well, this is an important little topic here, and like it's a simple thing, but it's something that people really do get frustrated about. And I remember a little bit back when I started. It's been so long, but like if I made an effort to get to a call and somebody didn't show up, it would make me upset and frustrated. Where now it's like you're saying, like, no big deal. I'm on to the next task, which is really how you guys should think about it. You should have a delegation list or a small list of activities to do that if something falls out, you just pull it out and you go right into it. The worst thing that you can do is if someone cancels is try to figure out what to do at that moment, meaning now what do I do? Do I try to just, go create content now, or do I, you should already know that if that falls out, I'm going into my studio or I'm going into the other room and I'm filming 2 videos. You shouldn't try to figure it out once it happens. It should already be figured out before it happens that you have something to fill in that time gappage. So you're not wasting any time. And then if you just fill that time in, you didn't have a setback. But it's when you made an effort to make a call and then they back off and then you're just sitting around kind of killing time, or maybe I'll just go to lunch early or something like that and stress about it. And why did they, not show up on me? It's
Hmm.
you got to shift that mentality. This is common in the world we live in.
Yeah.
It's like almost half the people flake. It's like crazy. Um,
Yep.
but
Yep.
yeah, you just got to get used to it. Just don't take it as a personal rejection. Just take it as an overall just objection, or I mean, a personal. Did I say that right? Rejection. I think I said objection, but I don't have to go back
Yeah.
and watch that.
Rejection.
But don't take it like don't take objection, rejection. Close enough. But it's not like they're, like I think like same thing with agent traction. You see this where people get like frustrated, where like look at the time investment in your business: 1 hour to talk to an agent or 1 hour to show a house for your client. Now, you
Hmm.
same in time investment, different mental pattern after it doesn't go well. So let's say you show a house for an hour and the client says, no, I'm not interested in this house or whatever. What do? What's the next house, right? But when you show an agent or talk to an agent for an hour and they're like, no, I don't want to partner with you, and then they say no, what's wrong with me, or what's wrong with my brokerage, or what's wrong with my like people start reflecting, like taking it personal, because it's like a more of a personal objection or rejection, where over here they're just saying no to a house that's a physical object, bricks and roof and all that type of stuff. So it's
Yeah.
a lot of it's perceived. And then like when someone doesn't show up on like an appointment meeting, why did you cancel on me? What's wrong with me, when it could have been just any number of 100 reasons why they didn't show up.
Very
But the way
true.
that you think about a situation and the way that you think about why it happened or how it happened, and the way, and you're guessing, if you don't know the answer, you're filling in through what's called confirmation bias. You're confirming what you believe happened based off of pre-existing experiences in life. This
Wow.
is where
Yeah.
people can send themselves a little bit nuts. And it could have been a non-issue. It could have been a big issue on their side. They could have had an emergency for their children or whatever it is. And it may not be that they blew you off. It may just be that something came up. So
Yeah.
you
That's so
got to take
true.
it.
I think I've saved a lot of headache on my end when I decided to decide to not take it personal, which you got to get to that point too. It didn't happen for me overnight. It took me a long time to just be like, okay, Shonnie,
Yeah.
get over yourself. But it
Yeah.
takes a lot of frustration and anxiety away from you when you look at it like, hey, this was actually a blessing in disguise because now I can record some content. I need to do that anyway. Or now I can maybe do something else that I wanted to do, but I didn't because I put this as priority first because they said they were going to show up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I look at it as like, you know what? My calendar, my plan, my journey is working itself out the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I may not have liked it at first, like, what? You didn't blow me off. I know you didn't blow me off. Or I know you decided, why you didn't decide to join
Yeah.
me, but look at it differently. And then you're so much
Yeah.
more happier and you can be cool with that particular person and not be upset with them when you see them in person. It's like, how's it going? Is everything okay? And stuff. So that mindset and just how you approach things, man, it makes a huge difference in relationships, in your own self, your anxiety. It's so important.
Sure. Well, it's just like these little things add up. So like this is just kind of one little flow or scenario that this stuff can happen in. And I mean, think about all the different scenarios that we can go through in business and life. And if you let them all beat you down just a little bit here and just a little bit there and a little bit there, eventually you find out why people break. And it really is how people handle it mentally, how they
Yeah.
see what's happening and how they reflectively think on that happening. Like, okay, how is this bad or how is this good? And if your thoughts go to figure out how is something that's good or at least not bad, you're going to not be mentally affected as near as bad. But if you try to figure out how everything's a curse or negative or causing more problems or things like this, it's a very bad mindset to stay in, and it's very hard to get out of it. And you don't even realize once you've been in it for so long
Mm.
that you're inside of it until someone basically tells you you're a negative Nancy, right? And then like it kind of
Right.
snaps you out of it. But like
Uh-huh.
I've had many stretches of my life where I was like super, super negative, And when I was negative, I didn't think I was like that negative. And then later when I look back, I was like, oh my gosh, like
No,
I
me
wouldn't have wanted to be
too.
around myself. Like I definitely wouldn't have. Yeah. So like you got to think about why people don't want to be around you guys. It's probably not them. If you have problems with like 20 people in your life right now, it's probably
Right.
not them. Right.
Mhm.
But, you've been doing a really good job with all your social media content. So, guys, go check out Shawnee's IG and how she does all that in her posts, but also like your YouTube stuff. How do you, as a busy entrepreneur, you're doing a lot. You're a broker, appraiser, investor, all these different things you're doing.
Yeah.
When are you getting your content in? Are you doing it in the field
Mhm.
and at home? How does that kind of work? Because everybody's trying to figure out how do I run my business, but how do I keep my presence on the internet
Yeah.
moving forward and not breaking that consistency either. And this is a big battle and challenge for like lots of agents and entrepreneurs in general.
It is. It is. I will say that, you know what, it's not like it's easy. Okay. It's just something that I know that I must do, and it works, and it's getting me good return. So it's just part of the job. And so I choose to enjoy it. I choose to look at it like something that's fun. I choose to laugh at my bloopers. I've actually saved some bloopers. At first, Connor, I would delete that stuff like, oh, I messed up again. I would delete it and just angry. Now I just keep them and I laugh at them. I'm gonna put out a blooper video at the end of this year, because it's like, look, it comes with it. It's all good. But for me, everything is content at this point. So, I do choose one day out the week that I'm going to record content no matter what. So it's
Yeah.
going to happen that particular day. For me, it's Thursdays. So I'm going to record, I'm going to do some content on Thursdays. I'm going to go to some new construction communities, and I'm going to talk to some agents, going to, get some model homes or what have you. I'm going to do that. And when I have appointments and things that fall out, which it happens all the time, I record. I have my equipment front and center, ready to go, and I get to recording. And that's that. So I take every opportunity that I can to record. And but my days to do it for sure are Thursdays. And then any other time I'm ready to go. And I know in my mind the treatment, how I want to produce it, how I want to put it out, what I'm going to say, what it's going to look like. I can see it now. At first I didn't. I didn't have a clue what it was going to look like. I was just going for it. But now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start this way. I'm gonna end this way. In the middle, I'm gonna say this. I visualize it, so I see it before I even do it.
Yeah. And so, well, the visualization process comes from preparation. When you're preparing for
Mm,
something, you're thinking forward. And so you're seeing in the mind of how you think it can happen. That's what you're preparing for. So
mm,
it's super important to understand preparation saves time and saves stress as well. So, like, she's talking about how she prepared ahead of the week. She knows on Thursday she's going to create her content, but she's also, when she's out of the property, she's prepared ahead of time that if something falls out, all her stuff is there, she's ready. So let's say you go out to a property to meet a a client or something like that, or another agent, and they don't show up. Well, if you're not preparing, your camera's back at home, your SD cards are not charged, or
yep.
they're like batteries are not charged and all this type of stuff, that that's going to create another stress for you, because you're going to be there and you're like, oh, I could actually knock a video out right now, and then you don't, and it just
Hmm.
gets you even more set far behind. So everything is about preparation, guys. The farther
It
ahead that
is.
you prepare, the more likely you are to succeed. So the farther in the future that you set your goals, whether it's a day, a week, a month, a year, 10 years, lifetime, and then the farther ahead you're thinking about what you're trying to accomplish, the way more likely you are to actually do it. Most people only think about the day, and that's why they may make mistakes over the month and the year, because they're
Hmm.
only focusing just on the day. But when you're forward thinking and you're seeing the vision of how your year is going to play out, or the month or the week, you prepare for it, and then you're going to have less time leakage, less stress, because always, you're going to not have as many missed spots to capitalize on that time leakage, while you're missing, so it
Yeah.
is super important. I don't think enough people think about their business and plan ahead. They just kind of wake up and run a reactionary life and a reactionary business, waiting for the phone to ring, then they'll respond to it. Waiting for emails to come in, they'll respond to it, instead of preparing
Ugh,
ahead of time how the day
it's worse.
goes. And then if you call me, I'll pick up if I have the ability to do so. But if not, I'm not breaking what I prepared to do that day
Yep.
until I can find the time to get back. So one's reactionary, one is absolutely not reactionary, and the difference is your income at the end of the year for sure. It's
Oh
going
my
to be much
gosh.
different.
Yes. And you hit the nail on the head. Like, I carry my gimbal around with me, because I'm like, You never know. And I make sure that it's charged. And this is just a part of how this is for me, this is doing real estate. So whatever your
Yeah.
definition of doing real estate is, that's fine. But mine is being prepared. So having my gimbal charged, having my lapel mics charged, um, having my mindset like, hey, it might be some content today, so go ahead and comb your hair. So it's just
Yeah.
preparing for what could be, you know. It's fun, it's good, and it helps me to feel productive. I'm happier when I'm productive. That's when I'm happy. So I need to
Yep.
stay in a happy place.
Well, that's what's so crazy is like people, everybody I talk to wants to make a bunch of money so they can do nothing and sit around and do nothing. I'm like, that's not what develops happiness and confidence and a strong self
Mm,
image. It's like what happens to people when they retire, they got nothing to do and they work their whole life. Now they're retired. They're like, actually, I got nothing going on. So it's when you have those days that you just got a lot done and moved the ball way down the field where you just everything you're getting stuff done, moving to the next task. At the end of the days, you feel accomplished, you feel proud, and that's what really generates the feelings inside our body that we want, not sitting around on a couch watching TV all day. You're going
right,
to get depressed. You're going to be, even though there's not a lot of intensity for to overcome anything or effort to overcome anything, so you're not having a lot of stress, you're going to start to have stress in a different way about how you look at yourself and how your self image is, because you're like, I'm just wasting my life. I'm not doing anything. So the harder you work and the more you work, what I've found personally is I'm a happier person,
mhm,
and I have a way more fulfilled life. So I don't look at like working like long days as like a punishment. So like when I tell people I work like 12, 16-hour days, usually I've been doing this for years, like people, like I see their eyes like in terror, but that's because they haven't conditioned themselves to do it yet. So like if I
yeah,
like when I had run a lot, I couldn't run a mile, better yet 5 or 10 miles. But after I conditioned myself to do it, 5 miles is easy, right? So you guys have not conditioned yourself to work long days, but once you do, it's just you're just showing up and working, right? So you got to
yep,
condition yourself, and it's not be a problem. But you're
mhm,
also gonna the more you work and the harder you work, the happier you're going to be, and the better your results are going to be, which also leads to a happier life because you can do more and have more. But as we're coming to the end of this, what's your take on 2024? What do you see with that? And then how do people reach you? How do they get hold of
yeah,
you? We'll put your links below here, but kind of give your take on, you've been doing this for over 20 years. This is
mhm.
multiple cycles. What's your kind of gut tell you what we're going to see next year in 2024?
I'm feeling very positive about 2024. I feel like, buyers, they've been sitting and waiting. Sellers have been sitting and waiting. They want to do something, they want to move, but they've been sitting and waiting, and they're tired of waiting. And I just feel like 2024 is going to be a year that is going to open up for everybody. Everyone's going to start making some moves that's going to be beneficial for them and their
Mhm.
family. We're going to start seeing homes sell a little bit faster. They're spending less time on the market. We're going to see buyers and sellers more, excited about making these moves. I'm excited about it. I feel it
Yeah.
coming just with conversations that I'm having with my clients now. Like, we're going to wait until next year, elections is coming up and things like that. So I'm really excited. I feel very positive about it. And we'll see. We'll see. But I believe that it's going to be great for everybody, especially us real estate agents who have decided to stay with it. Yeah.
Yep.
And
I think you're
yeah,
right.
so anyone can find me on social media, Shonnie Alridge on everything. Instagram, YouTube, and um Facebook, all that good stuff, LinkedIn. I'm there under Shonnie Alridge, and I'd love to connect with you and
Yep.
talk about how you can, grow in this real estate industry and have a good time while doing it too.
Yep. If you guys came across this video and you want to sit down with Shawnee and I and look at what it'd be like to partner with us at the Wolfpack, just let me know. But yeah,
Yes.
I think you're right about the market. I'm actually seeing. I don't know about you, and we'll wrap it up with this. I'm actually seeing it turn on a little bit. Like it's almost like how it normally gets when we're going into springtime. I'm actually seeing some get a little bit more active right now. I think people have just been, like you're saying, waiting for so long. Now getting to a point where it's coming down. Now they're just getting anxious and anxious. They don't know.
Yeah.
Now they're scared. What if this is the same way for 2, 3, 4 years? Because like a normal consumer doesn't understand that. They're not understanding cycles that we're probably close out of this. So I'm starting to see not just with kind of like I'm seeing more houses, better houses go on the MLS. Like recently, I've just been seeing kind of a bunch of trashy properties, to be honest, like
Yep.
rundown properties. A lot of parents seeing more pretty houses that are nice houses come on the market. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
really right about to, and I don't know how hard it's going to pop and explode. I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be like a 2020 explosion, but I do think there's this big bubble that's about to pop in like a positive way. I don't think we're going to see this big market crash people are thinking. I think it's going to be the opposite. I think they're going to,
Yeah.
when they
Mhm.
get a couple interest rate drops and
And we're gonna be ready to
they
go.
start talking about the media, people are buying again, and once it gets on national mainstream TV that the market's hot, that's going to travel around the country, and before you know it, it's going to
Here
go
we go.
in. Yes, get ready, hang on,
Get
right?
ready.
But well, awesome. Thank you for coming on the show today, Shonnie. I know it was a good one. I had a fun conversation with you. I'm going to get
Yes.
this out here in a couple weeks, so I want to just remind you guys, go follow Shonnie on our channels, and if you're interested in working with us, just reach out to Shonnie, give her a message on Instagram, and we'll meet you on Zoom. Other than that, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming on the
Yes.
show, Shonnie. Doing a great job, and you guys have a blessed day. And I'll see you on the next one.